Welcome, everybody. It's another Wednesday night at 8 p.m. It's the Relationship Gumbo Podcast Live Show. I welcome you again. When you come in, make sure you let me know that you're here. If you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. Hashtag replay. And we're going to get it in tonight. We have a very important discussion, a timely discussion about depression. And we're going to do a little small deep dive into it just to kind of let you guys know, where things are. Maybe you'll learn a little things. Maybe you'll identify some things. So we have an extra special guest. But what I normally do is I want you to share and invite with your friends and family, cousins, or whatever else you got going on. Invite. This is going to be an important show. First thing I want you to do is give me about 30 seconds because I want to make sure that we are going everywhere we need to go. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope, aka Twitter. So make sure that you find out where you need to broadcast from. If you're more familiar with YouTube, you can go there. So give me 30 seconds and I'm gonna make sure everything's going well, and then I'll be right back.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the Relationship Gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, cause better relationships need better ingredients, so if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship Gumbo,
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, please share and invite this with your friends and family. This is going to be a very important show. And I want to make sure that as many people as possible get on here to hear the information. Because like I said, we have an amazing guest tonight. So what I'm going to do, if you're here for the first time, is I will pause for 3 seconds. I will start the podcast. At the end of the podcast, I'll pause for another 3 seconds. On the other end of that, if we have time, we can have open dialogue. During the show, feel free to ask questions, comment, and if it's pertinent to the topic, I will add it in live because we want you guys to know from now and forever that you are a part of the show as well. So I want to make sure that we engage each other and let's learn some things tonight. So without further ado, we're going to get started. So stand by. And welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones, and I am your host. I'm a certified life coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And tonight, it's all about depression, ladies and gentlemen. We are we're going to talk about this because I think it's timely. We're going to talk about this because even whether we're in or out of COVID, depression is always going to be a big thing in our communities, especially with everything that we're exposed to and the pressures that we have every day. So I have a guest tonight, and my guest, and I've never officially met her in person, but she's my cousin, y'all. She's a new cousin, but she's my cousin, and I realized that she just released a book about depression. So I was like, how timely is that? Let's get you on the show. So I'm going to introduce her, Mrs. Jamia Morrow Perkins, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself. So let's get her up here. So stand by.
Hello, everyone. Derek, thank you for having me on the show. I truly appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. So tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do, and a little bit about your book and what was your inspiration to kind of write the book. And actually, you can tell them the name of you. I'm gonna let you do all of that. Tell them the name of the book and all of that. And then on the other end of that, I'm going to go a little bit into it because I actually have it right here. So we're going to talk about the book a little bit, and then we're going to talk about depression in general. We're just going to get it in tonight. So the floor is yours.
So I am Miss Jamia Morrow Perkins, as Derek said. I am a licensed associate professional counselor. I am from the DMV, born and raised in Riverdale, Maryland, but I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia now. So I've been down here for 2 years now. But I kind of came into counseling from the police side. I worked at the police department, and I worked at the halfway house, Hope Village, that just got shut down. But I worked over DC jail, and I just got tired of seeing us, meaning Black people, as a revolving set of people running through those doors. And I went into the counseling field to find out how to intercede into that, how to help us stay out of those predicaments. Because if you can stop something before it begins, then it stops to be in a cycle. So I've been in counseling for maybe about 10 years now. And like I said, switching from the criminal justice side to counseling was not a huge shift, because a lot of the issues when you meet a lot of the people, they are depressed, they have anxiety, some of them have psychotic issues, a host of generational, systematic issues that are impacting us and causing us to, enter the prison, the school to prison and pipeline. So that was like one of my biggest influences. And then what kind of made me want to focus directly on mental health is my son. My son was diagnosed with a mental health issue when he was 6. He had a lot of bullying he experienced in school. It caused him to be depressed. He became, very sheltered, angry. And as a mom of a Black male child, I was like, no, I have to step in and I have to do something different for him. It's not just, he's going to be okay. Oh, no. I immediately sought out therapy for him, for us, because at the time I was just beginning my therapy career. So I was like inexperienced, didn't know where to start. So I really sought out the help. And, I know we'll discuss it more, but that's one of the biggest things is just really saying I have a problem I can't fix. In the Black community, it's like, no, we're not going to talk about it. We're going to sweep it under the rug, or what happens in this house stays in this house. And no. So, to fast forward to today, where the book came about, well, I'll take it back to 2016. I had a good friend, Henry Dare. People may know him as Hut in the go-go world. And that was like my big brother. That was like my heart. He passed away in August. In October, my grandfather passed away. And in December, I was supposed to be getting married. So I'm just like, wait a minute. No. So I fell into a really severe depression, to the point that I stopped doing therapy altogether. I didn't want to, I quit my job. I was like, I can't help anybody. I'm good. I was mad at the world. I was like, I didn't want to do anything. And fortunately, like I said, I had a great fiance, a great set of friends that are therapists, supervisors that are therapists, that was like, no, this is not the path for you. You've always shown a light and you always help people. So it's time for us to help you. So I came out with Breakthrough, which is my brand. And it is basically my way of coming out of depression. I had to break through the grief, the loss, and that I was experiencing the hurt, the anger, which is all signs and of grief. So, or signs and symptoms of grief. So, I came up with Breakthrough, and it's for the past few years been my baby, been my project. So when the book came about, I had been wanting to write a book. Life happens, time moves. You don't get that time to really do the things you want to focus in on. So COVID hit. And COVID created a lot of time for a lot of people. So you had nothing but free time. So I was debating. I was like, okay, what am I going to name this book? What am I going to do? So voila. The book came about, and it was called Living with the Secret, Hiding in Plain Sight with Depression. And the reason I chose that title is because I had so many friends. I'm talking about the strong friends that on the outside looking in, they don't have issues. They just knocking all their goals down. They out here moving and shaking, and they're, wearing this smile on their face. But when they called me, they were like, no, I'm broke. I'm down. I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know what to do. People were losing their jobs during COVID. People were dying. It was just so many unknowns, and people were just calling me and was like, I need to talk. And it was mind blowing, because these were people that never called me for the therapeutic advice. It was like, I'm gonna call my friend and talk to my friend, but they were locked in like, no, I need a real live session. Like I need to really battle some things in this session.
Right.
And so that's where the title came from, that it's so many people, and especially the African American community, that are hiding in plain sight with depression. They're the ones that's going to work every day. They're the ones you're calling on to do things, and they're smiling, but inside they're crying, they're dying, and we don't even recognize that. So I created this book as a resource and a tool to help our community, and not just our community, anybody in general, because depression has no boundaries. You could be white, black, Asian, high income, low income, in between. It can impact you, you know. And I've met people in all stages of that life that have been impacted in some form or fashion by depression, you know, whether it was a mild depression or severe depression. And I tell people it is stages to it, which people don't know. You know, the depression can be mild, where, you know, you may be in the car, a song come on and you start crying and you don't know why, you know, but you like, why am I crying? This song just came on. Or you could be severely depressed where you can't get out of bed in the morning, where you are physically sick, you know, and you think it's, oh, it may be, people say, oh, it's my allergies. Oh, it's my sinuses. Oh, I'm just tired. Yeah. You're tired, and your body is going to tell you you're tired, but it's how you respond to your body's reaction is differentiates if you will stay severely depressed, or, you know, whether you can overcome it. Because depression, yes, is a mental health, but everything has, you have a choice in it. You know, like I tell people, you can choose to be happy today. You can wake up and choose to be sad today. And some people may need more assistance and guidance in helping overcome depression than a person that has a mild depression, that may can talk to somebody a couple times, get their mojo back, and get flowing. So that's basically, you know, how the book came about, from my own experience with depression, you know, the support system and team that I had, and here we are today.
Yeah. So let's talk about this real quick. Cause I'm always, let me put your name back up here. But I'm always, I'm an analytical guy. And so when I saw that you had this book, this is what I expected. I expected, a story, like a novel. Right.
Okay.
When I got it and I opened it up, and I was like, this isn't a novel in the traditional sense. This is more like a handbook,
workbook.
This lets you, it actually helps you identify certain symptoms. And I'm gonna, when I finish it, it'll make sense, because it's an important tool. I'll call it more of a tool.
Yes.
It helps you identify certain things that you may not be aware of. It asks you questions that you have to answer back. And even just engaging the book in itself is kind of like something that we're not used to doing. So it actually makes you write down, you know, what you may be going through. So, and it's important because a lot of people from our community shy away from even seeking out help. But if they have a tool like this to kind of let them know, like, hey, this might be leaning in the area of depression, or you might be knee deep in it.
Yes.
And I'm always an advocate, and I know in your profession, you know, once you give it a name, once you can identify what it is, then you can say, okay, I might need to get help for that. And that's what this book does. So people that are listening, this book is important, if not for you, for someone that you love, so that they can kind of look at some of the things that they're dealing with. And I'll tell you a little bit about, like, me personally. I always try my best to put on a good face and make sure everybody is happy, and I'm empowering, and I'm doing the Relationship Gumbo show, and I'm helping people, and I'm doing all of this kind of stuff. But there's been points in my own life where I felt like maybe it might have been a little bit of depression. And for me, and I'm saying this to you guys that are listening, I'm saying this because, you know, Jamia is a real person, although she's in that mental health field, but I'm a real person too. I want you to hear these things because sometimes you don't really know what they are. And so this is what I had to look at with myself. I would go to sleep a full night, and then I would wake up the next day, and maybe like 2 or 3 hours after being up, I would feel like I need to go back down again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wake up, and then I feel like I need to go back down again. And I'm like, I got 8 hours of sleep. What the heck? And then I'm looking at, okay, I am stressed out at work. I got all of these things that I'm responsible for. And, you know, we build these things in our lives where we feel like we can purge. Like we might go to happy hour on Friday, or we might get a drink, or we might do this. Or we go. And when you sometimes have too much, it's hard to purge it. And so for me, I was a person that, and a lot of us do, and a lot of men do, we hold it in.
Yes.
We got to make sure we're taking care of everything. You know, we want to make sure everybody's straight, and we worry about ourselves last.
Right.
And now that we're in this COVID thing, now you take away a lot of the things that we used to cope, to try to purge it, and then you're just sitting in it. And it's tough for a lot of people. And I'll tell you, for me, I like being out and being social and doing, doing stuff. And this is kind of how I kind of maintain, but I can't really do that like I used to now.
Right.
So you sitting at home and you're working from home and you're doing this, and the kids are about to be doing the distance learning and all that. And people are dealing with some stuff right now. And that's why I said this is an important topic, because like even just the whole sleep thing, of course, we always Google stuff, and I'm like, does sleeping, oversleeping and sleeping a lot a symptom of the thing? Like, yep. And I was like, and I was like, okay. So I had to go and kind of, dig deep. I'm always the optimist. I'm always the one to try to figure out like the why of things. And so I kind of got myself out of it. But while I was in it, I was like, why am I still tired? Why is my body shutting down so much? And a lot of people that I talked to and I shared that with, they was like, I didn't even know that was even a symptom.
Exactly. So that's the point of the book. Like, I just didn't want to write a book and tell my story. I wanted it to be more interactive. I wanted to be engaging, because I have learned through therapy that people tend to embrace things when they are the center of it, when they are the lead, when they can lead their own destiny, then they are more engaged, versus me saying, oh, this is my story, this is what I did. And because I hate when I read books like that. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's not my story, that doesn't apply to me. So it makes me turn away from that book. But when you turn page 1, you like, wait a minute, this is what I gotta do on page 1. And like you said, no, you gotta have your pen, and I give you plenty of lines to write out. If you need additional lines, get some extra paper, because it has to be you being honest with yourself. And that's what I wanted the tool to be. You have to be honest with yourself, because only you can heal you. Yes, you can get all the outside influence, you can get all the how-to books, but if you don't actually read and apply and utilize what you have learned, what was the purpose of that? So that's why I wanted to make this book really interactive and engaging for people. So it's not something that, it just collects dust on your bookshelf. No, this is something that from page 1 to the end, you have to put in the work, because we all know when you work hard at getting something, you appreciate it more. And I tell people, and a lot of people I engage in, they don't realize you are your greatest asset. You are, not the car you have, not the house you own, not the clothes you wear. You are your greatest asset. So if you're not protecting your asset, what's going to happen? You're going to deteriorate. You're going to have signs of depression. You're going to experience things that you don't know how to overcome, because you're not protecting your asset. Period. I can tell people, if you're not okay, how can anything else in your life be okay?
That's a hard lesson for me to learn. That's a hard lesson for me to learn, because I always pride myself on taking care of everything and taking care of everybody. And my wife has to remind me still, like every week, she's like, look, you need to do some stuff for you and take some time for you and some self-care. And because and what I had to realize was, as much as I'm taking care of things and doing all of that stuff, none of that stuff can get taken care of if I go down.
Exactly.
And once I said it to myself in that way, I was like, okay, let me take a step back and just kind of breathe and stop and like really look at what's important. And if we don't put ourselves on that list,
nothing else is going to matter.
Yeah. It took me a long time to learn that, especially now that I'm older. I can't carry the weights that I used to carry when I was like 25. Exactly. And you think you can, right? You think you can.
Right.
You think, all right, I can handle this. And then when it happens, you're like, why am I getting a migraine today? And I went to a normal work day. You know, I've been pissed off at work before, but now it's a little different. And that's the other thing too. At any age, you got to listen to your body. You got to look at what's happening with you. And something like even with the book, and I know this happens in your industry in general, but something as simple as being honest about how you are feeling right now or how you're feeling today, and being honest about that answer. And a lot of people aren't even honest if they're just sitting in a room by themselves with a question that says, how are you feeling today? They still lying.
Exactly. I'm okay. But trust me, in a room full of therapists, we get it all the time. Like people be like, I'm okay. And you be like, now, you know, you not okay. It's and I see it a lot of times because we are taught to put on a facade. We are taught to mask our true emotions or internalize, as you were saying before, internalizing everything. But like the old saying says, pressure busts pipes. So the more you internalize that, the more you're going to burst. And that looks like multiple things. Like I can go to different age groups. You look at in kids, when kids are acting out, when kids are defiant, when kids are doing these things, something is going on. And that is their way of exploring and expressing what's on the inside.
There we go. Repeat that one more time.
I said, so with internalizing our emotions, you can look at any age level from a child to adolescence, into adulthood. When we internalize things, we're going to act it out. Children, if you look at kids, the kids that are acting out, the ones that are defiant, the ones that are not listening, it's something going on or something that they're dealing with. And the only way they're able to verbalize and express it is acting out. So it's the kid that we call the bad kid. It's something going on with that child. No child is just a bad kid. Something is happening to that child to make them act out. And even in adulthood, you have all these adults that's, can't commit. If I can't trust somebody. I have this and this, and it's always something. It's always something.
Yeah.
You're feeling that way because it's things that you have not addressed in whether it's your childhood, your teenage years, your early adult years, even in your now years. Is if you don't address things and face them head on, they're going to have some type of physical effect, emotional effect on you. So it's going to affect your functioning in some form or fashion. And that's why I tell people that self-care is one of my biggest things. I am all about self-care because you only get one of you. And like I said, if people have not understood during COVID, the death toll is just been so high. And, I lost 4 people in March, and I mean, it took a toll. Like, again, I had to step back. I had to take a week off. I had to, I was like, I told my clients, I can't see anybody right now because one, I couldn't even stop crying. I couldn't be in a session without like covering my eyes or telling my client, hold on 1 second, because I was so ready to cry, or I didn't even have the words to be able to help my client. So that is like we saying, identification is one of the biggest things, recognition, and then being able to step back from a situation, because my life is more important than anything that's out here, Right. So I had to step back, from that and be able to process. And I have a therapist. As a therapist, I have a therapist. I have someone that I call and be like, hey, I need to check in, and because it's a lot of, we call it in counseling transference and counter transference. And that's just nothing but plain old energy. If we're in a session and you're telling me something that could trigger maybe something I've been through. Now I may have overcome it, but because I'm emotionally fragile right now because of what I'm currently going through, your energy or it's going to transfer to me. So if I don't find and have an outlet, then I'm not going to be any good to anybody. So self-care, like I tell people, I don't care what you do. If you go in the bathroom and pray for 5 minutes, if you have to take any 5 to 30 minutes out of your day every day just to do some type of self-care, whether it's exercise, whether it's, I don't care if it's buying yourself a jelly donut, whatever it is that's going to make you happy, But you have to do something that really is going to put a smile on your face. At the end of the day, I try to do something that is going to make me laugh. Like, I love to laugh. I'm super goofy. I love to laugh. So I do, whether it's whatever it is I do, to have that self-care routine. It has to be something that is routine, just like breathing, just like eating, just like those things. That self-care has to be embedded in your daily life somewhere.
Right. Yeah. So I'm gonna hit one comment and then I'm gonna come back to another section in the book if I recall. I'm gonna see how good my memory is. So City from Facebook says, my father is 75 and still acting out. Damn shame. # his unresolved trauma.
Yeah. Listen, mental health, depression, anxiety, all these issues don't have an age limit on it, and the crazy thing is, generationally, her father's time frame, everything was swept under the rug. Everybody had that crazy uncle, you just left that crazy uncle over there in the corner. Everybody knew he was crazy, but no one said, well, what made him crazy? What is going on with him? Or let's get him the help. It was just that crazy uncle everybody avoided, and that's the thing. And, like, my grandmother is 80 and she hit, after my grandfather passed, she was depressed and no one was recognizing the symptoms, and I was like, no, I know my grandmother's pattern. Like, my grandmother she get up at 6 a.m. I don't care what day of the week it is. She's up at 6 a.m. She's, cleaning the house. If it's a work week, she done made breakfast. She out the door 45 minutes before she even got to really leave, because she just like to slow stroll to work. And when I saw her behaviors begin to change, so my grandmother wasn't getting out the bed, she wasn't really, wanting to cook. And my grandmother is a cooker. She loves to cook breakfast, lunch, dinner. She cooks. She was not cooking. She wasn't doing certain things. So it's being able to recognize it, and you may get pushback. So like, even though her father is 75, it's always time to get help. He can heal at any age if he's willing. And it might be a hard conversation because, again, in their generational times, you didn't discuss, especially as a Black man. I can only imagine the trauma that he has been through at 75. You think about it, 1960, when we had a right of segregation, that was only 60 years ago. So he was just 15. So he know what that black and white racism looks like. So I can't even begin to fathom what he has been through. And so that's what I talk to families a lot, because counseling is just not about the individual. It's about the family and the network and the support system that they have around them. That's what helps a person really to overcome, because another symptom of depression is isolation and withdrawal. So if you have that friend that is outgoing, like you saying, you the person that, like, I'm me. I'm gonna love to be outside, give me some nature, anything outside, whatever. And you see that person like, oh, nah, I'm good. It may be okay the first time, but when you get to the 4th, 5th, 6th time and they not coming out, they, don't want to be around you, they ignoring your calls, you really start to not see them. That's when you really need to see them, if that makes sense, because they are in the beginning and forefront of a depressive episode. And like you said, because people don't identify, and like I said in the book, we talked about, even like you say, with sleep, isolation, being withdrawn, being irritable, overeating, undereating, these are some signs of depression. And I know, people are probably like, wait a minute, hold on. Some people I know, or myself, experienced this during COVID. Yes. And, some people are just able to organically bounce back, but some people can't. Some people need that extra support and that help. And it may be, the going to talk to somebody. And I know it's so taboo. People are like, well, why would I go talk to somebody that doesn't know me? Sometimes that's a good thing, because think about it. You may not have that family member that you trust, or you not going to be really open with your family as you would maybe a stranger. Because at the end of the day, and I'm gonna just debunk some of the myths about therapy. We're not here to judge you. That's not my job. That's only God's job. I'm not here to judge you. No therapist is there to judge you. The only thing we're there to do is help you accomplish whatever goal that you set out. So whatever you come in the session saying you want to accomplish, that's only our job. Now, will we challenge you in that session? Absolutely. But we will never present it in a manner that you can't receive. And a lot of time it's how you receive that message. So if you come into counseling open, willing, and able to learn things about yourself, and it may be some things you don't like, being willing to just be open with somebody, because again, you have to be honest with yourself, period. Like you saying, if you running around and somebody say, how you doing today? And you like, I feel terrible, but you don't say that. You're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm good. And then you go sit at your cubicle and you be like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this day. Yeah. Instead of, because you never know if that was the door that was trying to be open for you to get the help you needed. Because that person might say, hey, I experienced the same thing. Let me refer you to this, or did you try this or something, So it's just about being honest with yourself, especially during these times. I mean, life was too short to not be real with yourself. Put it that way, Yeah.
And I think the part of the book I remember, I think it's called, because you talked about identifying things, and then I think towards the end of the book, I think it says time to do the work.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yes.
And that's important too. We're talking about that now, but that's an important part, and people need to understand that you got to put some work in order for you to kind of heal. And without people on this show, you may not ever get rid of it, but you can get some tools to help you cope with it on a daily basis. Let me get a couple of comments here.
Okay.
Michelle Ford from Facebook says self-care has become a priority. Yes. And that's something that a lot of us really need to implement in our lives, like a lot. Spin City says about her father, he can't heal. He's a malignant narcissist and transferred his horrible energy monster. Thank God I had intense therapy and a life coach. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you speak, and then I'm gonna add on.
Oh, no. I mean, even though she's able to recognize it, I'm glad she did go out and, seek out therapy for herself. Some people you can help heal and some people you can't, but I'm glad she recognized her strength to be able to go heal herself. So,
yeah, that
to her.
That's something that I always champion on the show too, is when you're going through and it starts to become a part of like your everyday or your every week, what we don't realize is that it doesn't just affect us, it affects the environment around us, it affects the people around us, it affects the little kids. Like we think that they don't know, they know, like they'll say something like, are you okay? Like what's going on? And you're like, oh, I'm good. They can feel feel
that energy.
And it's important for a lot of people who feel like, I don't want to go, talk to anybody or whatever. If you don't necessarily go for you, go for them, because you're going to pass that on, whether you know it or not. It's going to pass on whether you see it now or you see it when they turn 16.
Exactly.
They see it.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna go down a couple more. Spin City says, I love therapy and self-care. It turned my life around. And then she says, sis is telling the truth. Therapy is a non-judgmental, safe place. So
thank you. Yeah. I mean, but it works. Like I tell people, nothing beat a failure but a try. Try it and see. Don't listen to what someone else said about therapy or their experience, because you have to look at that. Did they go in there with an open mind? Did they go in there being honest? What was what was behind them going into therapy, because it's all in how we receive stuff. They may not be in a time in their life where they're able to receive. And when you talk about time to do the work, that acronym actually, stands for time invested in myself will enable and encourage my healing. And at the end of the day, that's what the main focus of therapy is to help you heal from whatever trauma, whatever bad experience, whatever you have gone through. Therapy is an outlet to help you really identify, recognize, and process what you've been through. Because what people don't understand is, even down to the young lady and her father has probably been traumatized many a times through his 75 years, that it may be some things she doesn't even know about, that he's been through and he's not expressing, but it's coming out in his actions. So things that happen in your childhood. So I encourage parents, if you see your child acting out, please go seek help. I don't care who think what. I had my family talk about me. Oh, why are you taking that boy to go see a therapist? That's not what Black people do. That's for white people. Well, I'm going to be a white person today then. I'm going to be a white person who's going to help my baby heal. Because at the end of the day, I don't want my child as a Black man in America. I don't need him growing up to be no angrier than what he's already going to be. I don't need to add no more layers of stuff, because it's baggage. It's that baggage we carry here, you carry there, and then you continuously carry it. And on the way, life is a journey. So if at every stop you keep picking up negative baggage and you're not unloading and dumping that negative baggage off and putting in positive, you're going to be, by the time you get 75, this angry man with a train full of baggage. So when he looked back, he probably got 10 cars of baggage that he's never dealt with. So that's what I tell people. You have to find a way to dump that excess negative baggage off, because it impacts your self-esteem. It impacts your self-confidence. It impacts your ability to learn. It impacts your ability to trust people. And if you look in the Black community, that's what a lot of our issues are. Why we can't get ahead. That crab in a barrel mentality is because of a lot of the bad experiences and the trauma that we've either experienced or we've witnessed throughout our life. So you have to find an outlet for that in order to be able to heal.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, it's just to piggyback on that. A lot of times, and then I'll get to Spin City make some more comments. We say as parents, right? And our parents probably said it about us, is that we want our kids to be better than we were. We want our kids to have more than we had. Well, this is a part of it. This is a huge part of it. If you want them to be better than you, then acknowledge the fact that you gifted them your trauma. You gifted them your, depression and all this other stuff.
Just like looks.
They don't have to go through it like you did and have to try to manage it and hide it. That's a full-time job. People don't realize when you have to hide stuff as a part of your everyday, that's like being in jail. You can't even be yourself.
Yeah,
because you're pretending with everyone. And that's something that's really like near and dear to my heart, because and I think to a certain extent we all kind of put on a role when we're in different places sometimes, but for you to kind of mask like your whole, like everything that you're feeling, your mood, and you can't share it with your spouse, you can't share it with your mama, and you just keeping it in, that's a pressure cooker right there.
It is. And you waiting to explode. And that's why so many Black males, it's so many Black males sitting in the jail and so many sitting in the grave because of that pressure pot that it boiled over and that it turned into anger and rage. You hear so many people say, I blacked out. I don't remember doing that. I don't know why I did that. It's because they've allowed the trauma and the hurt to continuously build. It's like just dumping dirt until it becomes an unbearable mountain to climb or to bear. And then it's like the only way I can get it out is to lash out. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And just real quick, Spin City on Facebook says, I sure did get help and I learned and practiced to self-validate myself, give gratitude every day. And she said, your cousins don't like therapy. They definitely don't.
Listen, they do not. I'm telling you, listen, I had so many people ask me when I said I wanted to go and get my master's in mental health counseling, because like I said, I had been on the criminal justice side of the track. You know, everybody was like, well, why do you want to go into mental health and da-da-da-da-da? And I was just like, because one, I'm like you, I'm a researcher. I want to understand why I'm going through things. I wanted to understand why I was doing certain things, why I was acting certain ways. And so in essence, going through my master's degree program, I learned so much about myself. I learned about my biases. I learned about just things that I had experienced and how they were still impacting my life as an adult. And then, like I said, I had a child that I was like, I want to be the best parent to be able to help him go through whatever he's going through. And so, like you said, you know, to piggyback on what you said about when we say we want our kids to be better, being better doesn't mean, okay, they have a bigger house than you, they have more money in the bank. It's emotional too. In the Black community, we have to start healing emotional wounds and scars. That's the only way we overcome racism and everything that's out here in the community, because you got to understand a lot of systematic and generational issues have been passed down emotionally. It's just not financial, because when you begin to know who you are, like she said, self-validating, when you begin to know your worth, no one can ever devalue you, period. Right. I don't care where you at, who you are. When you know who you are, you will understand the power that you have. And that's why that book is so important, because it is a tool to help you regain your power. If you don't take anything else from that book, that's what I want somebody to take from, is how to regain your power. Because with that power, you can become anything. And that is what scares people, is your ability to overcome. Because as a Black people, a Black community, we have overcome everything that's been thrown our way, you know. And you look at it, it's when you begin to heal emotionally, you begin to not just put, like they say, you can't put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. No, baby, you got to actually clean that bullet hole out. You got to get you some sutures. You got to take care of that. It's time that we start to clean out those wounds, not just keep trying to stick Band-Aids on that. And that's what that book does. It helps you as a tool and a resource to clean that wound out. I ain't going to say it's going to be easy. I didn't say it wasn't going to hurt. But when you reach that other side, the reward is so much greater than the risk not to read a book, not to go to therapy, not to heal, because you're going to benefit and you're going to really see your potential.
Yeah. So Spin City says, sis, please address the unlicensed church counselors to stop giving damaging therapy. I'm gonna let you jump on it little or however long you want to do that work. we know. Go ahead.
No, I mean, you know, I'm gonna say this. Everybody has a little bit of counseling in them. Now, you know, I do believe that, you know, and I say that because I have learned from my clients, and I'm talking about clients that I had that were sitting in a 6x9 cell, you know, that were facing life charges, that were able to teach me and counsel me, and just things that they had experienced and perspectives that they had gained from their experience, you know. So for the unlicensed church person, I'm gonna say this. I'm spiritual. I'm very spiritual. You understand what I'm saying? I believe in that higher power. I'm not religious. I'm not stuck on the judgment of religion. I'll say that. So, you know, and I tell people too, pastors are human beings. Church people are human beings. You know, some of them hide behind the cloak of the church, but they're human beings. Are their motives always good? No. Most of them, I believe, come into that line of work with the intention of healing. However, things, life, whatever they may be going through, impact how they react and respond to people. You know, so I don't. I'm not a big, you know.
We on that same page, but I do want to say this about that topic. She said, "Put me on live." I'll say it. So I want this. What I want to say about that, because we're gonna jump on and off that for obvious reasons.
Right.
In Spence City, we're gonna talk about the book on the way out. Once we get to that, we're gonna start wrapping up, and then we're gonna we'll get all the book information out there so you can get it. A lot of people who are devout in their religion, they pass off the fact that, you know, if you pray, then the mental health will just magically disappear without you having to do any work. And I think that's kind of the narrative with that. And I am not a pastor or a preacher, none of this kind of stuff. But I believe in most religions, especially Christians, it says you still got to do some work here. You got to do some work here. And part of that is to figure this thing out. You gotta figure out what's going on. A lot of times you may have to go, you know, to a therapist that's not a part of church, or, you know, go to a licensed one, or wherever you need to go to try to get help. And what I've learned in talking to several licensed therapists is you may have to go through a few just to find one that fits you. So if the church one doesn't fit and you don't like the way it feels, that doesn't mean you stop. That doesn't mean you stop seeking help. There's going to be somebody out there that you can relate to, and get you the help that you need. So even though the church will claim to be the end all be all and everything is fixed through prayer, the prayer is at the top of the totem pole, but you still need to do the work. And that's all I'm gonna say, because I'm nowhere near.
Right. So I'll jump back in on that. You know, so I'll give people just tips on when you're trying to find a therapist. You want to find somebody that connects to you. You know, so when you reach out to therapists, it could be just like a doctor. Maybe you're a female, you only want a female. You know, you're a male, you want a male, because it may be, you know, you don't think that can understand certain things that you've been through. So when you seek out a therapist, you want to seek out somebody that you feel comfortable with, because when you have to sit, now telehealth, we video, but you want to be able to really be comfortable. So seek out somebody that you can relate to, whether it's male, female, black, white, whether they have, like, a lot of therapists will tell you if they are devout Christians or whatever their religious preference is. Some, like me, I'm non-denominational, you know, so I respect your cultural beliefs, your religious beliefs, but that doesn't impact my service to you. You know, so people, you know, may want, like, you know, whatever you like, find that one, because at the end of the day, once you get through that, you want to be able to connect to that person. You want that person to be able to understand you without you really having to sit down and write a novel about who you are. You want to be able to connect and relate to that person. And that's the biggest thing on reaching out and finding a therapist. You know, like you said, church, yes. And, you know, in my grandmama days, everybody went to the pastor to talk and figure. But if that's not working for you, seek out the person that will help you. That's it. That's my bottom line, is seek who will help you and who you can connect to. So I don't, you know.
Everybody wants to know what the details of it, but we're going to get to that in a couple. We're going to wrap up in a second here. So we talked about, in essence, what the book is supposed to accomplish. We also touched a little bit about COVID, and people are really like, I'm going to say, jump out there and say this. I don't think we've seen the worst of the mental health crisis that comes out of this. I don't think we've even scratched the surface of it. Like, you know, we have, domestic violence is on the rise.
Right.
And all of
Yeah.
this stuff
Child
is happening
abuse is
right
on the
now.
rise. A lot of these things. Yeah. So I mean, here I'm like I said, I'm in Georgia, so we still a red state. Like our numbers keep going up. They like 4,000 new cases. You're like, dang, Georgia, I need y'all. We need to roll back. But you're definitely right. In this field, I'm from March. Like my numbers, like I said, of clients have skyrocketed. I've been asked to take on clients because initially I do assessments. That's just the intake. I see you, diagnose you. I may see a few people here and there, but it became such an influx that they were like, some of the agents like, can you man the crisis line? People were calling in because they were just in immediate, urgent need. So I think as COVID continues in certain states to be the numbers continue to rise, you're going to see the grief. You haven't even seen, like you said, the outpouring of anxiety. You have all these different things of, going back to work, being able to pay my bills. If I caught COVID, what does that look like for me? So those group of people that are coming in and, you don't know what the mental health outtake of that is going to look like. So you're definitely right. I think as therapy, and I love a lot of the celebrities that have jumped on board with really exposing mental health and talking about mental health, that more people are now seeking out mental health. So my thing is like advocate on your platform about it. If you have any type of platform, really step out there and just help out in any way you can, especially if you're in the mental health field. I don't care, what your degree is, what your background is, because they're going to, this is a field that we need help in now. People are just begging and yearning for the help to heal. So you're definitely right.
Yeah, we haven't seen the massive amount of evictions yet. We haven't seen the people who were working and won't have a job on the other end of this. The help,
Right.
The government and whoever else is helping, but that's not going to last forever. There's going to be a point where it stops. And
right. What do you do?
Yeah, and I talked about also on my show, and I know it happens to both men and women, but I always like to talk about the men, the Black men, because these are like this is the group that a lot of times often is forgotten when we talk about these type of things. But you got to think about a traditional man who tries to be head of household and is proud of being able to take care of his family, to be in a situation where there's an eviction, or you've been working for the past 20 years and now you don't have a job. What does that do to that person's mind? It's huge.
I definitely want to step in on that. And as we begin to wrap up, just provide people with some interventions and support and resources. Like right now, like I said, in Georgia, my son started school Monday. So it's a thing of me now trying to balance being a therapist because I'm video chatting with my clients. And then I also have a husband. So it's as a therapist, I kind of know how to step in. But for the person, the woman, the wife, the girlfriend, the baby mama that doesn't know what to do, if you see your whatever significant other struggling, really have a conversation. Just check in with them. I'm telling parents to check in with your kids, spouses, check in with your spouse, really see how they are feeling, because people are waiting for that. I know I'm the strong friend, and I wait for that phone call for somebody to be like, well, how are you really doing today? So just really reach out. Like I said, to the friend, to the person you haven't seen, reach out, to parents, just some things. I know as we get back into this school world, become structured, have that structure as if, you're getting up in the morning, your child is getting up, make the child breakfast. They have lunch breaks, do lunch activities now, things that we weren't afforded the luxury to do. We have to find a silver lining in it. You have to find the positives. This is the time, like you're saying, child abuse has gone up. I have a lot of DFACS workers that is like, they just been out there because the child abuse allegation calls are just coming in, like you're saying, the domestic violence. So this is a time that I need people to self-reflect, self-evaluate, look at where you are as a person and be honest. And then if you are in a household with other people, begin to do family-oriented things, especially with your kids. We can get real creative, like start to cook dinner. Teach your kids how to cook. Teach your kids to be self-sufficient. I know you and I were talking about, us having 11-year-olds and them starting businesses. Let your child be who they are. And what I mean by that is let them explore. This is the time of exploration. This is the season of finding out and exploring new things. So see what your child is interested in. Get your child off of the game. Have your child write a poem. Have your child tell you who they are. Because I'm telling you, during COVID, I learned so much about my son that I'm like, you 11. How you? Wait a minute. I didn't know all of this, and it's because we were in here doing games and we were writing letters to each other. And, I was really just in his world. I was more involved, and that's the thing I'm taking away from COVID. So like I tell people, don't let COVID knock you off your square. This is a time to adjust and adapt, period. You have to find new things, like you said, when it comes to the male without a job, is it another skill set that you have maybe been interested in? Is it another, form of work? I don't care, what it is. If you want to learn how to start a catering business, do a nonprofit, just start some things that it may be outside of your comfort zone, but at the end of the day, it's going to benefit you. So it's like I say, this is the time to just really get to know yourself, really get to know your kids, really get to know your spouse, and really just check in. That is my biggest thing to anybody. Check in on that family member that may be living alone, grandma that may be in the house by herself, Uncle Joe, whatever. Check in on that family member, check in on your friends, because you never know, that one phone call may save their life.
Yeah, that's that all of that should be high on your list, especially the things that you're doing for yourself. And I know this comment that Spin City just said is near and dear to you. And the therapist that I had on a couple of weeks ago, she deals with this too, but she said, don't forget about the first responders and frontline workers' daily trauma.
Oh, listen, I have so many friends that are firefighters, nurses, police officers. Listen, especially in the DMV. I played kickball up there, and a lot of the first responders from DC and PG County played kickball with me. And even just seeing their posts, so many of them are tired, but they have to keep pushing on. And like I said, I talked to them. Part of my give back, was I made masks. I donated masks to hospitals down here. Any of my friends and family members that I know that on the front line, I donated, so this is the time where the community needs to come together. As a Black community, it takes a village. This is the time when the village needs to show up for those frontline workers. I don't care if it's, taking them a box of donuts, if it's, doing something nice for a person, a first responder, a frontline worker. This is the time that we need to show up and show out for them, because trust me, they're going to need therapy when all of this is over more than anybody, So definitely, anything you could do to brighten their day, trust me, it would be greatly appreciated.
So we're gonna start wrapping up. Michelle Ford says COVID has definitely allowed me to become more engaged. And that's the thing, is I always promote like just positive energy and positive thoughts and positive, like it sounds cliche, but you need that for fuel for you to even just go through the day. So let's I'm going to put up a graphic about the book, and we're going to start wrapping it up, and you can tell people how to find you, and I'm going to get this graphic while you're doing that.
All right. So again, I'm Jamia Morrow Perkins on Facebook. On Instagram, I am Breakthrough. It's BR8KTHRU support services. That's my therapy. And I do have a t-shirt line. It is Breakthrough Design, spelled the same way, BR8KTHRU. Please follow me and I will follow back. If you need to DM, if you need therapeutic services, whether you're DC, Maryland, Atlanta, I will get you connected. If you're in any other state, I will be glad to help you find a resource to get you to a therapist, to any type of support groups or things that you may need. The book, Living with the Secret, Hiding in Plain Sight, it is on Amazon right now. You can go purchase that. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. It will be a great tool and resource guide to helping you overcome depression and reclaim your power.
And also, you have an event coming up still? You still doing that? Okay.
Yes, this Saturday. I know COVID is hitting. We will be practicing social distancing. It's a drive-by book signing. I'll be back in the DMV, so I'm so happy to be able to get back home. I will be doing a book signing there. Again, it's an outside event. If you're in the area, it's in Glendale, Lanham area of Maryland. Pull up. I'll be able to sign your book. You can purchase books. Again, if you need resources or anything to talk, I'll have resource pages out there as well. If you're in the area, hope to see you.
Also, give me 1 second here because I gotta have like 30 hands here. First thing is I want you to tell me what your you said it's your IG.
Yes, it's Breakthrough. So BR8K. THRU support services. That's the therapeutic page, and then the other page is Breakthrough Designs. So it's just Breakthrough with the designs.
Okay, hold on. I want to make sure that people can screenshot it if they need to. BR8K
THRU. Yes.
Design. One. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna put that up on the screen here. Hold on. So this is the support services IG, and you can go there, contact. I'm assuming they can DM you or however if they want to contact you there. And then the Breakthrough Designs is for what again? Just in case I didn't hear it.
The t-shirt brand, hats. If you have your own brand, I do design and printing for t-shirt needs, other people t-shirt needs as well.
So tell people one more time how the name Breakthrough came about.
So it came through my own bout with depression. In 2016, I lost a great friend, big brother, named Henry Dare. Lost him in August. In October, lost my grandfather. And then in December, I was supposed to, well, I did get married, but I canceled my wedding. I was really severely depressed. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. I quit being a therapist. So I was done with helping. And like I said, I had a great support system, my husband, family, friends, co-workers that were not going to allow me to stay in that depressed state. And I wanted a way I needed an outlet. And so I started making t-shirts with messages on it, and Breakthrough came about. That's what I overcome the depression, was breaking through it. So you have to break through to overcome difficult things. So that's how the name came about.
Yeah. I wanted you to say that because a lot of times people push stuff that don't have anything behind it.
Right.
And I really wanted people to feel that from you, so they understand it's not just you going and buying a t-shirt. It actually, there's something deeper behind it. So Spin City is in Atlanta.
Okay.
This episode was fire, great dialogue. And she says, so you're forgetting about us Atlanta people, sis? We want a book signing too.
Okay, so I am preparing to have that, but everybody down here, our city hot like fire. So I'm trying to find an outside place that will allow me to. And trust me, I will let the people know. Spin City, follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of my events there as well. And I am trying to get that done sometime in September. I would definitely have a book signing here. So I hope to see you. Like I said, DM me. I would love to hear from you.
Yeah, and Spin City may know a spot where you can do it. Who knows? You know what I mean? That's why collaborate. That's why.
Exactly. Collaborate. So Spin City, if you know something, DM me some locations. I appreciate it.
Michelle Ford says, great show. So we're going to wrap it up. This was good. We got to do this again. We're going to bring you back for a lot of reasons, not just for this topic, but just for a lot of reasons, because I know even though you do this for a living, that's not the entirety of who you are. Sometimes I just like to pick people's brains on different topics. So we're going to have you back. And
also,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do want to tap in. I am part of a reality show down here in Atlanta. It's called Boss Ladies of Atlanta. Definitely, I want people to go out and follow that page. That show will be dropping soon. You can also see our reel and what's going on with that. So again, I do a lot of stuff here in Atlanta. So anybody that is in the Atlanta area, please follow me, and I will definitely keep you posted.
Oh, Spence City says, I know a place. Hit me up. So just follow her on Instagram. I put the information up if you have to. And I'll also put her information in the show notes when I put the audio podcast up as well. But just when you on the replay, just rewind and go back and get it if you need to. And I'll also put it in the comments as well. But yeah, this was good. We're gonna have you back. I appreciate you. Any final party words you need to say or want to say to the audience?
Well, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like I said, if you ever need help with depression, please do not be afraid to reach out, because it can save your life or someone around you. Derek, I appreciate you for having me on the show. This was truly, truly, truly amazing. I thank you again.
Anytime. So with on that note, guys, make sure you always go to www.relationshipgumbo.net and check out all the goodies there. And follow me and when you go there, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. Make sure that you attach everything to me. And real quick, one more last comment before you go to you. Okay. She said, you know what place it's in DeKalb County. So I don't know. Y'all can figure that out.
I know what you're talking about. That's
relationshipgumbo.net. Make sure you go there. Follow me everywhere, because tomorrow I'm bringing the merch back. So make sure, because they finally got the shipping back to normal after all of this. Right. I was like, yes. So I'm bringing the merch back. So make sure you check that out. I'm gonna start posting that stuff back out tomorrow. It's a lot of good positive stuff. And yeah, just check it out. I got quite a collection of stuff there. So yeah, we follow both of us. So on that note, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. We appreciate you. And we will see you next week, same time, same place.
All right, be safe.
All right, podcast portion is over. We are not doing an after question thing today. I think we had a lot of engagement tonight. Yeah, this was good. So, like I said, we're gonna have you back, and we'll talk offline. Spence City says thank you both for the episode. Much love, and we appreciate you, Spence City. You're a friend of the show now. You're part of the family, because you come here. You're a regular now, so it's like when you go to the happy hour and you see the same person every week. You're like, oh, yeah. you feel like your family. So anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, cause better relationships need better ingredients, so if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship